De Filippo is a very particular writer. He wrote in his own Neapolitan dialect, which is not conventional Italian. It's not quite another language, but it's going in that direction. And he wrote about Naples in a very particular way. And what interested him was the battle between the individual and social forces that often feel as if they're rained against them. One of the fascinating things about the Naples in which he grew up was that, and it's still to this day, contained horrendous gap between rich and poor. And it was the disadvantaged that interested him the most. It's an interesting moment every time you pick up a play to direct. You have to select. You could probably research it forever, but you have to select, what you look into. And I'd been to various parts of Italy, but other than in transit, I'd never been to Naples. And so I went to Naples just to get a sense of the city, and it contained huge surprises for me. It's not like any other Italian city I'd been to. It doesn't have anything like the romantic allure that a Rome or a Venice or a Milan has. Again, you are very, very aware of the difference between rich and poor. It's very run down. There are huge mounds of uncleared rubbish and waste there. You can actually hear the rats running around inside the mounds of garbage. And the slums about which De Filippo wrote still exist. Quite bizarrely, they're set in an area called the Spanish Quarter, which dates right back to the 16th century, when there was a huge battle between the French and the Spanish for control of Naples, because Naples was such a vital strategic port in terms of control over the Mediterranean. And the Spanish won. And they settled in Naples, and the soldiers were garrisoned in this area right by the port, right by the sea. And to this day, 400 years later, it's still called the Spanish Quarter. It's a horrible slum. It was in its day almost immediately a red light district, and still is to this day. Bizarrely, if you're walking down the main drag in the center of Naples, almost like the Oxford Street of Naples, with all the major retail outlets of it, the Spanish Quarter runs off it at right angles. So you can be standing outside, Gucci and posh boutiques with expensive handbags, and literally within 10 strides, you're in the middle of a slum. It's absolutely bizarre. And the streets are very, very narrow. The balconies almost touching each other either side of the street. And that is the area from which Filumena comes. It's the area of poverty. It's the background she found herself in. And it's that led her to choose to be a prostitute at the age of 17.